Although America likes to invade other countries, just like Britain, they tend to be quite opposed to a return flow of immigration. People seeking a better life in the land of the free will do anything to get across the border. The transit van pulled over here was actually constructed from no fewer than 25 Cuban refugees. After they made a run for it, all that was left was 4 wheels and an engine. These illegal aliens are so desperate to sneak into the country, they devise all sorts of cunning ruses to get past the border control, often leading paranoid police to terrifying assumptions. When this cop pulled over a red pickup close to the Texas border, his suspicions were aroused when the tomatoes in the back started moving of their own accord. And when the driver sped off, the officer, perhaps understandably, assumed the farmer responsible for this produce had seriously overdone it with the GM chemical spray. After a high-speed chase around the local area at speeds in excess of 80 miles an hour, the cop's mind began to run riot, with images of genetically modified fruit going on the rampage, devouring locals in an orgy of terror. Was the fate of the nation now in his hands? Could this be the end of civilization as we know it? Can these killer tomatoes be stopped? With thoughts of a tomato-based apocalypse racing through his mind, the trooper continued his pursuit. And when, to the cop's horror, the pickup driver headed back towards the vegetable plantation, the officer feared the tomatoes were about to galvanize other genetically modified produce, and terrifying thoughts of the future, not unlike Planet of the Apes, but with fruit and veg instead of monkeys ruling over human slaves, flashed through his mind. But luckily, it was just a bunch of Mexicans hiding under the tomatoes. Phew. But it's an easy mistake to make when you're paranoid. This lot was quickly sent back across the border, along with their suspicious fruit. After all, you can't be too careful. I feel like Richard Littlejohn. Dealing with these illegal immigrants requires the American police to use all their tact and guile. In La Joya, Texas, police are called after locals report an influx of people speaking in a funny accent. Suddenly, specially trained police officers arrive on the scene and use all their police training to track them down. Luckily for this fella, he wasn't badly injured. And in another stroke of good luck, the police decided not to prosecute him for damaging their police car. Seriously though, sight of a police officer tends to send these poor people into a blind panic. And who can blame them, really? They spend ages trying to break into the country, so the last thing they want is for some bloke in a uniform to grab hold of them and send them straight back to where they came from. This is why at the first sight of a cop, these people invariably run for the hills. Also, no doubt they probably realise a lot of these American cops are mostly of the chunkier variety, so it's unlikely they want to give chase on foot. Especially when it's nearly lunchtime. Irony being they're probably going for a Mexican food dinner.